Hi there. Good morning, everyone. This is Heather from Naturally Present. Thank you so much for tuning in to the brand new episode number 1 of the Naturally Present series. I'm so glad that you're here watching this whenever, whether it's your morning, afternoon, evening. Welcome. My name is Heather, and I'm the founder of Naturally Present Coaching. And this is number 1. I'm super excited to be here. I do have a special guest coming in to join us in a few minutes, but I just wanted to come in here ahead of that just to talk a little bit about what this is going to be about. So before I start with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the format of this show right now is going to be me sharing a little bit about what I do and what Naturally Present is. I will also, as we are doing later today, invite guest speakers in that I'll be doing interviews with so that we can start to bring in different kinds of knowledge and valuable information that can help us all as we go on our path through this crazy life. And then as the show moves forward, I'm hoping that I can invite people to come on live with me to do some live coaching that we can share out. And by doing that, we'll start to reveal that the problems and the experiences and the struggles that a lot of us are having, they're not ours. They're very common. We share these, we find our commonalities, we find our way through by listening to other people's experiences and by sharing our stories. So that's the hope that I have there. And just to get going, I want to speak a little bit about a question I'm asked often, and that is, why naturally present? So being present for me, it's not a very sexy subject. It's a hard sell sometimes, you know, when there's lots of entrepreneurs out there who are selling, you know, here's how you can increase your revenue. Here's what you can do to become a better business person. Here's what you can do to become a better professional or coach. There's lots of different things out there that are really a little bit more immediate and appealing to the surface of our mind. But for me, the ultimate of everything is being present. So being present is where you can really tap into your intuition. It's where clarity lives. It's where everything that we try to do in our lives, whether it's mindset work, whether it's meditation, whether it's building a new business, trying something new, developing a new skill, trying to create a new habit in our life, all of that stuff, the basis of all of that is your mind. And it really does come to being naturally present. So excuse me for the headphones today. I do have a family home, so I'm just using these today to try to block out any external noise. And also, if you do hear some strange sounds, I have a neighbor across the road who's shoveling some gravel out of the back of his truck, so you might be hearing that as well. So the other thing that I like to talk about is meditation, and to bust some of the myths around that, because a lot of our culture around meditation is steeped in the idea that you have to be sitting still. You have to be with a straight back. You have to have your eyes closed on your same cushion every day, and it's got to be 20 minutes, and all these different things that are ideas and constructs we've built around what meditation is. And that's, for me, not the goal. The goal of meditation is to be able to bring it into your everyday life, into your lived experience while you're eating, talking, walking, breathing, dancing, whatever it is you're doing. And so really learning how to be present in everything that we do. Coming on to do these videos is also an opportunity for me, because oftentimes when we're going to do something that maybe feels us a little bit, we feel a little uncomfortable about doing, it's really about letting go of all of that junk and all that stuff that's running through the mind that can hold us back from taking steps towards what we want to be doing. And when you're present, you step beyond all of that noise, the surface of the mind that's going with all these different thoughts and beliefs and ideas we have about things and excuses and old habits and old patterns, and being able to step back beyond those so that when you're present and you take that step forward, then the next thing to do comes in, then the next thing to do comes in, then the next thing to do comes in. And it's not a pre-planned path that you're following. You're stepping more into a flow and into an intuition that can guide you to places that maybe the surface of your mind, which comes with the conditioning and the programming of your entire life, and in fact of the whole subconscious of humanity, that programming comes from. You're stepping out of that, and you're stepping into a place where there is a level of trust needed in order to be in that flow and to really step out of your own way, because I think a lot of us tend to get in our own way when it comes to taking action towards what it is we'd like to create, because there's that unknown. Often we're asked to let go of the how, Because when you look for the how, you're looking for the roadmap that's in the future that, well, if I do this now, then this and this and this and this, but you don't really know what this and this and this and this is going to look like, right? So it's really about just being able to step into the moment fully present, fully aware, and to let go of all of the stuff that we're holding in our minds and our conscious thoughts and our subconscious beliefs and our deep internal programming, and to be able to step beyond all that so that you can just be and be moved and be present with what is next. So it's definitely a bit of a journey. And the natural part for me is nature. I love nature. I live in beautiful British Columbia. I'm very, very thankful to be living near the mountains and the ocean. We have a river up the street from us. My daughter and I were wading out in there yesterday. And I love to share the photographs that I take of nature around here, and to really bring into people's awareness that you don't necessarily have to be out in the mountains. You can just step out into your front yard and take a nature break at any time that you need throughout your day, right? You can just go find a local bench and sit down and hear the birds and feel the wind and just be present with whatever it is you're experiencing in your surroundings without getting your mind engaged. And sometimes that's all we need to really just give our mind that little bit of clearing. So yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey throughout this series, about my journey with meditation. It's definitely been an up and down. It's a challenge at times to remember. It's a challenge at times to bring it in as often as I would like to throughout the day. And by meditation, I mean the practice of sitting with my eyes closed, which I do in the mornings, but also the practice of doing it throughout my day, when my eyes are open, when I'm interacting, when information's coming at me. And especially right now during this COVID-19 experience, where there are a lot of different energies coming at me. There are a lot of different emotions going on. There are a lot of collective emotions and collective thoughts and feelings going around that sometimes I tap into. It's not necessarily just what I'm going through. And so for me, it's really about learning to be present and not caught up in the thoughts that are going on in my mind, which then create a feeling or emotion. As I put my attention on those thoughts, I then create emotions and feelings within myself, which then either cause me to take action or even inaction in my life, which could be holding me back from following that flow of intuition, right? So yeah, it's really for me about being present in the moment all the time, and taking away the stigma and the ideas that you need to be a certain way in order to be a meditator. And even letting go of the word meditation. I mean, there's so many connotations that we have with that. So I'd love to know in the comments below where you are coming in from. This is going to be shared on a number of different channels, but I wanted to give a shout out first to Carol Moxham of Life is a Special Event, and also to Jenna Folger. I actually don't know how to pronounce your last name, Jenna. My apologies if I got it wrong there. Carol is in Oakville, and she runs Life is a Special Event. Oakville is in Ontario in Canada, and Jenna is in the UK, and she is the mastermind and the powerhouse behind the Master Your Channel YouTube channel. So I know that this video will be airing on there shortly. So I just wanted to give a special shout out to those two ladies who were integral in bringing me forward to step forward and to share with you guys live and in video and on camera, and to bring it forward. So thank you, ladies. I have also put out through my networks an invitation to people that I know who do all kinds of different interesting bits and pieces of work in the world to come and join me and be interviewed to talk about their work and to share what they do and their journey of how they got there, with the hopes that it will also inspire some of you guys who are listening or watching this to see where we find those commonalities, those struggles that we all go through, those things that we'd all like to shift and maybe just need a different perspective or a different tool or technique that we might want to try in order to make those changes that we're looking for. So that's the hope on the show. And I'm really, really excited to bring in the guests. I do have Cathy Minler, who will be joining us in just a couple of minutes. Cathy also lives in Maple Ridge, where I live in British Columbia, on the west coast of Canada. We do run in some of the same circles, but I don't think we've actually met in person, which is kind of interesting. She lives with her husband, her son, and 2 dogs. And Cathy is an integrative health coach. And she's going to have a really interesting story for us on how she got there on that journey. She's the owner of That Gut Chick. That is her recently launched online health coaching business, where she focuses on gut health, which I think, especially right now, is going to be a super important topic for many people as we look to how we can strengthen our immune systems and really embody as much health as we can as we learn to navigate through this COVID-19 experience, because most likely it's not the only experience we're going to have collectively of strange viruses and bacteria and things like that, right? It's not the first time we've been through it. It's the first time we in our age have been through it on this grand of a scale. But we know, I mean, we've all known that health is a super important thing. Our immune systems are super, super important. But I think now that we're in the midst of this COVID-19, a lot of people are starting to look at what can I do to strengthen and get stronger there so that I'm doing the best that I can. So I'm just going to take a look and see if Cathy is in here. Hi, good morning, Cathy.
Hey, hi, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm just going to start off by saying it's a gray, rainy day, right, in Maple Ridge where we both live.
It is, yep.
Sometimes that can impact the internet connection. I've noticed a few little glitches here and there, so we'll just do our best to work through that.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us today. I've already done a brief little intro that we both live in the same town and probably run in a lot of the same circles, but we haven't actually had a chance to meet yet in person. I don't think, have we?
I don't think so, no.
No, yeah,
No.
yeah. But it's great that you could join me today. So you are an integrative health coach.
Yes.
And you have a journey that took you from quite some time ago with some mysterious symptoms and things like that, right?
Yes.
And no diagnosis until, was it December of
No.
2016? Is that right?
Correct, yep.
Yeah, that took you on this journey. And now you've just launched a brand new online health coaching business, right?
Yes.
Yeah, super exciting. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey, like how you got started, how things went for you?
Sure. It's a long story, so I'll give you the really short version.
No
Because
worries.
it's gone on for probably most of my life, my entire life. I've pretty much had issues with food to some extent, but, you know, kind of in denial about it and didn't really deal with it. In my 20s, it got worse. I moved out, of course, you eat bad. And, you know, so it got really bad then, still somewhat in denial. But then in these last few years after my son was born, he's 11 now, my health really started to decline. And then when he was probably, I don't know, probably around like 5 or 6 or something, it got really bad. I lost like 75 pounds. I was sick all the time. I was dizzy. I couldn't function. I was tired. I honestly thought I was dying, and other people thought I was dying too.
Wow.
So I discovered that I had all these new food allergies, and one of them was corn. And that's what really started me on my journey, which is funny. You know, corn is what started me on this, because I just thought, you know, corn, popcorn, that's it. But then I soon realized I was still feeling sick, and I realized that corn is in everything. And that started, that started me researching food. And then I started realizing what goes into our food, how they deal with our food. And then I, you know, wanted to give back. And my cousin recommended the Institute of Integrative Nutrition School. So I signed up for that eventually and learned a lot more. And just before this, I got my diagnosis that it was celiac in December of 2016. And I've been on a journey to heal, and I finished my schooling, and now I want to start my own business and give back and help other people that have, you know, in the same situation or similar situation as me and don't get the answers that they need.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people in that situation, hey?
Yes. Yeah. Mine went on, I mean, probably almost my entire life. I don't know when I became celiac. I don't know if it was in my 20s or it was like 10, 15 years ago, but I just know I've been sick for a very long time and nobody could diagnose me, which was really frustrating.
Yeah, that's a very common story, isn't it? I mean, a
It
lot of
is.
people don't get a diagnosis and then you're left wondering.
Yeah, I know. And you start thinking, am I crazy? Like, what's wrong with me? Am I losing my mind?
Yeah. Good. So do you have a strong network of other people that are also celiac that you can sort of bounce things off of?
I don't actually. I'm not in any groups, and I don't really know of many other people that are celiac. I run into the odd one through my work, but that's about it.
Right. Okay. And what did you do prior to the coaching?
So I've working basically administrative jobs for years. I've tried having my own business over the years since my son was born. I did some MLM. I did office organizing business, and you know, I owned a community events magazine and POCO as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and they didn't really work out for me. They weren't the right fit, but they were still good because I learned a lot, and now I feel like I'm ready to start my coaching business off on the right foot from all that I've learned over the years.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you feel like some of those skills are sort of necessary for what you're doing now, so they may be part of the journey?
Definitely. Yeah. I know I don't
Yeah.
see it as a business failure or that I, tried and failed. I see it as I've learned something from that. So now I'm able to not make those same mistakes going into this business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
your business is called That Gut Chick, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
very cool. So you focus on gut health. And
Thanks.
just prior to you jumping on here, I did speak a little bit about how I think that, and I'd love to get your perspective on this, but certainly during this COVID-19 experience that we're all trying to navigate, that I know a lot of people are starting
You're
to look at their immune
cutting,
system. Are you there?
yeah, you're cutting out there. It's just kind of getting like every like third word. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me start that again. So I was
Yeah.
just saying that prior to you jumping on, I was talking a little bit about how during this COVID-19 experience that a lot of people I know and myself and people that I speak to, we're all focusing a lot more on getting healthy. All
Yes.
the things that we should have been doing prior to this are now a little bit more ramped up,
Yeah.
but also really focusing on the immune system so that we can start to have more strength to deal with these things that come in.
Exactly.
So I'd love to hear
Yeah.
your perspective on that in relation to gut health.
Yeah, so that's, I specialize in the gut health because that's my passion. That's what I deal with. I am celiac, so that's obviously my gut. Um, but through this whole journey, I learned so much about gut health, which before I knew absolutely nothing about, didn't even know it was such a thing.
Right.
I had no idea the amount of bacteria that's in our gut, good and bad, and how having more beneficial bacteria in your gut affects your health overall. So yeah, I really feel strongly right now people are going through the best way, not the best way, but one of the best ways to protect is to, yeah, increase your immune system. And one of the best ways to start is with your gut. I take my probiotics daily because that helps get the good bacteria in there. And I really notice a huge difference when I'm taking them versus not. And it's everything. It's not just my gut health. It's like when I'm eating poorly and I'm not taking my probiotics, my anxiety will go like through the roof, and I have like troubles even going out and driving. Sometimes I just get anxious. And yeah, but when my gut is in good condition and I'm taking my probiotics, I don't have any issues with anxiety anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you, now that you've been through this journey and you have all this information and knowledge and also your own personal experience of it, do you find it very, very easy to make the right decisions, or do you still sometimes struggle with making sure you do what you're supposed to be doing?
I still struggle.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I've kind of struggled to get my business going the last year because I was like, well, what can I tell people? Like, yes, I have the education, I took for a year, but I'm not a doctor. I don't have a degree. I haven't gone to school for 10 years. I'm like, how can I help people? Somebody with a degree can't help them. And then I realized just recently, I'm like, the way that I can help people is through my experience, and that I go through it every day. And I know exactly what I'm supposed to do to heal my gut. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do to eat properly, to feel good, to not have any symptoms. And I don't do it half the time
Yeah.
because there's so many other things in life. There's stress, there's convenience, there's time, it's just life, and we're just human.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm like, that's one of the things that I really want to focus on in my business is just helping people, to do the best they can, but just understand that it's a journey, it's a marathon, and you're not going to get there overnight. Some people will, obviously, but most of us will not, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that, because I kind of thought before we dialed in, like, this woman's doing it every minute, every
Nope.
day.
Nope. Last night I had hot dogs. They're my gluten-free ones. They're the healthier ones.
Yeah.
And a bag of potato chips for dinner. And I'm like, so unhealthy. It's gluten-free, but still it's totally unhealthy. So,
Yeah. Well, that actually
yeah.
is a question I wanted to ask you, because you have a child, as do I. So when you're a mom, you don't want to cook 3 different meals, or 2 different meals.
Yep.
And there's times where you just want to nosh down with your kid, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's very frustrating. I still have moments where I just get so just angry because I'm like, it's not fair. I remember that a few weeks ago, I was driving by a restaurant and I saw a couple sitting in there and they were eating dinner and they were having their glass of wine. And just instantly, just like that, I was just so angry because I'm like, I can't do that. I have to go and get the ingredients and make the food. I can't even have alcohol right now. It doesn't agree with my system. And I'm like, yeah, I have lots of those moments where especially on a Friday night, you're tired. You don't want to cook. You just want to come home and get pizza or something. Can't do it. Yep.
Yeah.
So yep, I totally understand. It's very frustrating some days. For the most part, I'm good with it, but I do have moments where I get mad.
Yeah.
And it's not fair. Yep.
Yep. No, I hear
Yep.
you. And what
Yep.
do you do? What's your technique or your practice when you find those emotions coming up?
I just realized it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. It's not going to change. There could be worse things in life, I guess. Sometimes I'll resort to a chocolate bar. Sounds really bad, but
no, not at all.
I'm
Yeah.
like, then I feel like I have to have something. I can't be perfect. I can't just eat big chicken and vegetables every day of my life. So if I'm going to have a chocolate bar, I want to have a chocolate bar. I get a gluten-free one, but it's a chocolate bar. So
yeah. And
yeah.
I bet you enjoy it.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Take that time to really savor it when you do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to say it's really refreshing to hear a health coach admit that, because I know a lot of times Instagram and all that, you're seeing the perfection of the health coaches out there, right? This is what I eat every day. And it's nice to hear the reality, because none, like you say, we're all human and none of us are perfect all the time.
Yeah. And it took me a long time to get there, honestly. And I honestly just got there a few weeks ago, because that's what I was doing online. I was like, no, I have to post this positive quote and I have to post this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it just makes it sound like I'm perfect, and I'm not. And I was talking to my accountability partner for a course that I'm taking. And it was actually her. She's like, she's like, your connection is that it's okay. And you're not perfect. So they don't have to be perfect. And you can just help them through that. And I'm like, you're so right. It was like a total light bulb moment.
Awesome. Accountability partners rock, hey?
Yes. Yeah. And I have a really good one. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Are they local?
No, she's in Ontario, actually.
Ontario. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, I guess I'd like to understand also, my thing is naturally present. So I speak a lot about meditation and just the importance of being present. And again, just before you came on, I talked about how that's not really, it's a really hard sell. Like, gut health is something that someone can get behind because you have some health issues or whatever, but understanding the importance of being present, it's a hard sell. It's not a sexy topic.
Yeah.
You're not making millions of dollars. You're not improving your health. But for me, it's really the basis of everything that we do. So I bring that in just to kind of get your take on, when you are working with clients that you're coaching, even though it is around specifics around health and gut health and nutrition and things like that, how do you advise them and work with them on their mindset and when they do encounter resistance?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I haven't even had any coaching clients yet. So
okay. We're brand new. Okay.
Brand new. Yep. And I probably could have, but I've let my own fears overtake, and that's why I haven't. But that's why I'm putting myself out there now, because I want to, and I want to help people.
Awesome. So just stop for a sec. Anybody listening who needs some gut health coaching, then here we go. This is your in.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking from my own perspective, mindset, I think is huge. I'm horrible at getting in my head and getting lost in my own thoughts and worrying and stressing and obsessing about what happened 2 weeks ago and obsessing what might happen a month from now or a year from now. And honestly, that is probably the biggest reason why I don't heal my gut, because I overthink, I stress, I worry, I obsess about things. And as soon as I stop doing that, sometimes I manage to stop doing it. I don't know how. My gut gets better. And as soon as I start worrying and stressing and not being present, I have more gut issues. So I think it's
amazing. Yeah. That connection between the two. It's incredible, right?
It is. Yeah. Yeah. There is. There's the vagus nerve that goes right from your brain down to your gut. And it's a huge connection.
Yeah.
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 And also, just for me, the mind and understanding the inner workings of our programming and habits and all that stuff like that, that's the majority of the work, right? That's the majority of that's like 95% of our show is run from that. And so if on the surface of my mind, I'm like, okay, today I'm going to eat carrots. Today I'm going to eat carrots. Today. That's just one little piece, but underneath is all the other stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
I think, that's a really
I know.
piece.
Yeah, I know. Cause like I said, I have all the knowledge and I know what to do, but there's your mind and your emotions. And when I get stressed, the first thing I turn to is chocolate.
Right.
And then I eat chocolate, because that's just a habit. That's what, issues in my life. That's what I've turned to growing up.
Yeah.
And that's just what you go to. And it's so hard to overcome that.
Yeah. For me, it's crunchy, salty.
Okay.
Yeah. Potato chips, all that. Yeah. Like some popcorn, all that stuff. Yeah. Yep. No, I hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some of the biggest changes you've had to make through this journey for yourself?
Honestly, it changes my whole life. The gluten, like when you're first told you're celiac and you're like, okay, no gluten, simple, I just want to eat gluten. But honestly, it really does change your whole life, your whole way of thinking. Even just like eating out becomes a huge challenge. You have to do all the prep work before. You've got to research the menu. You have to maybe talk to the restaurant. So yeah, I don't, going out, I find stressful. Traveling, I find stressful, because again, you don't know where you can find gluten-free food. You don't know, is it really gluten-free? I've gone to restaurants and they had no indication on the menu. And I asked the waitress and said, which items are gluten-free? And she's like, oh, I think the whole menu would be, wouldn't it? I'm like, I'm good. I'll have water. Thanks. So,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we're very lucky here in Maple Ridge to have Zena's, the gluten-free bakery,
Oh,
right?
I love Zena's. Yes, I'm always in
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's just, I mean, there's definitely more options available now, but I hear you, especially eating
Yeah,
out. That must be very challenging.
it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, I really don't eat out much anymore. I have like a couple meals that I can get here and there, but for the most part, I just prefer to eat home. I just feel it's safer, it's easier. But then I also fall into the I don't want to cook for myself again. So
Yeah. I'm there with you.
yeah.
Yeah. And then, oh, I lost my train of thought there. I got all so excited about cooking because that's all I do these days, cooking and baking. Um, oh, your family. I wanted to ask about that.
Yeah.
So what's it like for them? I mean, do they still eat it more of a traditional diet or have they sort of come on board with you?
No, they still eat regular food. My husband does not eat the best, and I just let him eat what he wants to eat. My son, he's not celiac, but he is sensitive to it. We had the blood testing done, so he is sensitive to gluten. So I try and minimize it a little bit. He has more issues with dairy, so we've cut that out. Um, but yeah, I still make the regular food for them, and they eat that, and I make separate meals, and yep,
Do your thing.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I'll try and make a meal that seems like it's regular but doesn't have gluten in it, and I just don't tell my husband. So, but then he catches on and he'll be like, "Wait a second, why are you eating the same thing as me?"
Yeah. It's like hiding vegetables in your kids' dishes, right? When they're 11, you can't really
Yeah,
get away with that anymore.
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's quite a journey that you've been on, and here you are
Yeah,
poised to help others on their
yeah,
journey with their gut health. And you, I'm assuming, so you said you're online, and that's great
yeah,
because no one's going out right now. So,
exactly. I know.
do you have a specific program that you run them through, or is it a little bit more free flow depending on who the client's going to be?
So through my schooling, they trained us to do a 3 or 6 month program, basically because that gives you enough time to get to know them, work together, go through a season change or some kind of a holiday or a birthday, wedding, something like that. Because you can do really good for a month, and then Christmas comes up or somebody's birthday, and that's it. You just fall right off again. So yeah, so I'm trying to do a 3 or 6 month based on that. But if somebody wants to do just maybe a one-off here or there because they kind of know what they should be doing, but they just need a little bit of support, then I'm willing to work with them to make it fit what's best for them.
Right. Great. And if someone is experiencing some health issues that are undiagnosed, what would be your advice to them?
So I'm not here to diagnose them. I'm
Nope.
not a doctor. I don't want to replace their doctor in any way or advise them to take any supplements or anything. The role of the health coach is just to be like a guide on the side. Basically, we say we're there to support them, talk them through. I obviously have a bit more education and can direct them towards maybe some different food choices, suggestions. But my first thing would say is you need to talk to your doctor, and you could say, I can tell them, say, maybe get tested for celiac, maybe get tested for low B12 or iron or something. And you could start there and see, because maybe their doctor isn't suggesting that because those aren't common things that they test for.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when your client calls you, your future client calls you and they're struggling with the mind piece, how are you going to help them?
I think just talk it through with them. That's the biggest thing. I find that's what helps with me. Let them get it out. If they're angry, get it out. Let's talk about it, and get it out of their heads, and and just see what's going on, and then come up with a plan, different ways that we can work with their mindset or different suggestions. In my training also is not to just cut everything out. I'm not going to sit there and say, well, you can't eat any of this anymore. I mean, unless obviously you're celiac, you can't have gluten. But we say to crowd out, we're going to add in the healthier foods, and we're just going to add some stuff in slowly and see how you feel. And then maybe you don't want that chocolate bar anymore. Maybe you don't want to do this anymore because you're feeling better because you're eating some more vegetables.
Right. That's beautiful. Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else you'd like to share about the work that you're taking on?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm just pretty passionate about it. You can get me talking about gut health forever. So I love what I do, and I just want to help people. My previous businesses, I was all about, I have to make money. And now I'm like, it's like, obviously I would like to make this my full-time job, but if I don't, it's like, I just want to help people because, I went through a really rough time for a lot of years, and it was very frustrating and very upsetting. And I don't want anybody else to have to go through that or feel that way
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're here to serve, you're here to help.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. So I'm going to do our closing questions, which I did prep you a little bit on. So
Yes.
Number 1, what is your number 1 tool or technique that you practice daily to keep yourself in balance?
I would have to say that would be my to-do lists. I
Oh,
love a good to-do list.
me too.
I have them at my day job. I have them at home. Like
Yeah.
I said, I can really get lost in my thoughts and get feeling very chaotic. I've got a lot going on. I work, family, writing a book, business. So yeah, I do that daily and write down what needs to get done. And then it's out of my head, it's on paper, and I don't have to think about it anymore because it's on a piece of paper and I can just go look at it again.
Perfect. That's a
Yeah.
great tool. Yep. I have one too. I call it my DOM, my daily operating manual, and I don't
Oh, there
operate
you go.
without
Yeah.
it. Okay. What's the number one habit that you struggle with the most that you find it really hard to be consistent with?
I would say probably social media. I'm
Mm,
not a big social media person. I don't love it. I get it and I get the point behind it, but making sure that I'm regularly posting and promoting myself and getting out there and connecting with people in that way, I'll do it for a little while, then I forget and I fall off and then I come back.
yeah.
And I don't really feel it's a good image to give. I feel it makes it look like I'm not committed to my business, which I am. I just don't like social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I hear you. I'm the same. I'm kind of, I'm all out there and then I take some time, then I'm all, but I've come
Yeah.
to realize that that's really just the cycles and that's okay
Yeah.
for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If you were sitting with yourself 5 years ago, your past self, what advice would you give to yourself?
I would say stop overthinking and just go for it. I
Yeah.
talk myself out of a lot of stuff because I'm like, oh, I'm not qualified. I'm not good enough. Who wants to listen to me? I can't do this. I
Yeah.
wish I could just be one of those people that just doesn't think like that and just jumps all in with both feet. And it's just like, well, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would just tell myself that, like, be more self-confident and know that I do have something to offer to people and I can relate to them. So I just need to jump in and just do it and stop thinking about it.
Beautiful. That's like,
Yeah.
that's naturally present. That's it. You don't think, you just take a step and then you take a step and then you take a step. I love it.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. What are you reading right now?
Nothing at the moment.
Good for you. You're taking a break or you're just not much of a book person?
I love reading books, but I'm just feeling like I've got so much on my plate right now that I haven't. I have a stack of books, but they're just sitting there, and I look at them and go, "Oh, I should read." And
That's so me. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
It's beside my bed. It's like huge,
yeah,
but yeah, that's where they've
yeah.
stayed. They're kind of
I
dusty
know.
now. So if
I
I pick them
know.
up, the dust is going to go everywhere. So
I know. I know. Every night I'm like, "Oh, maybe when I go to bed, I'll read tonight." No, I go on my games on my phone, and I'm like, "That's what I do instead."
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question is, how can people find you?
So right now I'm just on Facebook. I don't have a website at the moment, but hopefully later this year I will. So it's That Gut Chick. And also by email, it's thatgutchick@gmail.com.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Any last parting words of advice for anyone who might be listening to this and on the edge of thinking, I need some help, but don't really know what to do?
Yeah, if you're thinking you're not sure, definitely get in touch with me. I offer a complimentary 45, 50-minute health history at the beginning. We just get to know what's going on with you. I let you know about my programs, how I can help you. And if you're interested, great. And if you're not, you're not. I'm not a pressure person. I don't want to work with anybody who doesn't want to work with me or who isn't ready. If you're ready and you want to find out more, then I would love to chat with you. And if not, that's fine.
Awesome.
Yep.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming and joining me today, Cathy. It was really great to hear and learn about what you do.
Thank
And
you.
I'm sure that now that we've connected here virtually, that we'll see each other around town as well.
Oh, probably now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. You enjoy the rest of the day.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye.
All right, so that was Cathy Minler from That Gut Chick. So if anyone out there is experiencing some health issues, or you just would really like to learn more about how you can work with your own gut health, then she would be a great person to reach out to. So she's at the very beginning stages, as we learned, of her coaching business, and let's do what we can to support her. Maybe even pop onto her webpage just to take a look at what she puts out there. Sorry, not her webpage, her Facebook page, and then you can put some comments in there and ask any questions that you may have. So I'm going to wrap this up just by saying today's focus has been on the physical health. My focus is always on the mindset and the mind, mastering our minds. And so for me, that piece of the conversation, noting the links between how we think and what's going on and what we entertain up here, how it deeply connects to what's going on in our guts, is pretty powerful. So I hope everyone out there is staying healthy and sane and safe during this experience of COVID-19. And yeah, I'm looking forward to episode number 2. Thanks for tuning in, and let me know down below if you have any questions or any comments. Otherwise, I hope I'll see you on episode number 2. All right, take care, everyone.